Hello. I feel like I was just talking to myself on mute there. Can anyone hear me now? If you can hear me, type into the chat, please. Make sure everything's working. So just say, hi, I can hear you if you can. Yeah, so if you can hear me, maybe tell me where you are coming to us from. I know most of you are from New Jersey, but we just need to know where you are. And there's Q. It sounds like Q is from our office, so it sounds like he can hear us, so that's good. And okay, so if that's looking good, I'm just going to mute myself for a couple minutes and I'll be right back. We'll kick this off at 1 p.m. Eastern. Hello. Hi, everyone. It sounds like we have people from across New Jersey signed on to the chat. I know we have some people that are listening to this that are not in the chat. I definitely love to get everyone in the chat, so that's on the right side of the screen. You may have to just type in your name to get in, but I will be asking you some questions and we'll have some Q&A at the end. Okay. So I just want to verify again that people can hear me. Put that into the chat if you can. Hi, Matt. And Matt was one of the guys who sent questions in early. Thank you, Matt. Okay, well, you're in the right place. Let's do this. So this presentation is called Using the Internet to Drive Farm Sales. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I'm going to talk about as we go forward here. This is sponsored by my company, Small Farm Central. We do a variety of services for small farms, farmers markets, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what we do at the end. But this information this is freely available. This is, you can use this on your farm for free. If you do, we obviously have paid services, and that's what pays my salary and my employees' salary. So if that is interesting to you, there'll be an opportunity to check all that stuff out. And yeah, everyone can hear me, so that's great. Hi Jess, hi Diane, hi Lynn, hi Casey, hi Vitaly. It's funny doing these webinars because I'm sitting in my office here and I could just as well be talking to myself. But I've done these for at least 4 or 5 years now. We've been doing a fair amount of webinars, so I hope I'm getting used to it now. So hi everyone. And I know I'm not talking to myself. So, okay, anyway. And I thought it'd be just fun to tell you something about me, just so you get to know me. I grew up on a small farm, and in the process of I have some young children now. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and so that's just brought back some memories, especially for my mom. And so there's a picture of me and my mom, and she tells the story about how right after I was born, she would like nurse me and change my diaper and then put me down. And then she would have to go out, run outside and milk 7 goats by hand and then run back inside and, take care of me again. And she says, she's like, I don't know what I was thinking trying to take care of a baby and take care of goats and take care of a farm all at one time. She can't imagine doing it now, but I always thought that's sort of a funny story that she was taking care of goats and a baby all at the same time. So, but anyway, that's little Simon there. Okay, so what you're going to learn today, hopefully a lot of things, and hopefully we have some, I'm sure we have different levels of, knowledge as far as, what you know about marketing. And I hope that you can get something out of this no matter where you are along your path. First is how to differentiate your farm market in a crowded marketplace. I'm going to talk about what's going on in sort of the local food market right now and what we need to be doing to get better. Why social media is not a silver bullet for your farm marketing. So some of the challenges there and how to overcome those. The third one I think is really important is helping you develop a weekly schedule for the season as far as posting to all your different marketing outlets, so you can spend more time farming and less time marketing, but still get that maximum amount of reach, which is really important. And then we'll also talk about what kind of content to create for your marketing and what kind of content resonates with the customers that we have. So these are just a couple of things you'll learn. I hope you'll learn more. But that gives you a little preview. And so I'm sure you're thinking now, like, well, what does this guy know, and why is he up here telling me about it? First off, I do have sort of on farm experience. I grew up on a farm, and then later ran a farm. We did CSA and farmers markets in Colorado. We helped a fruit farmer start a vegetable operation there. And so we had 130 member CSA. We did 5 markets a week, and Yeah, and so then after that, after it was time to move on from that, I wanted to combine my experience with the technology end of things and with my passion for farming. And so in 2006, I started Small Farm Central, and we've worked with over 1,000 farms over these years, and it's almost been 10 years. It's sort of amazing. And then also, of course, so I've watched all these farms market themselves, talk to them about it, but I also market my own company online, so I do have that experience too. So it's a little different from what you do as farmers, but it's all the same, really, in a lot of ways. So, okay, just I have a couple statistics here for you to think about. There's been some talk about whether the local food movement has peaked. This is some data from the USDA showing the change in direct-to-consumer sales in 2007 to 2012. And so where you're seeing yellow, that's where it decreased. And where you're seeing I guess it's like violet or something, that's where it's increased. So what do you see more of? Do you see more yellow or do you see more violet? Um, I'm sure you're yelling into your computers that you see a lot more yellow. So that means that the direct consumer sales declined since 2007, and that's why we've had this huge wave of interest in local food. I think there's some argument about where this is going, because that's only direct to consumer sales. So if there's some middleman in there, maybe they're going towards food hubs and things like that. But it's something to think about is that maybe the local food movement is not increasing sales, at least from a direct to consumer, as much as we'd like, and we'd rather be on a wave that's going up than a wave that's coming down. But so that's one thing to think about. And I think I'm not sure what you're seeing in New Jersey, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit at the end in the Q&A. But across the country, there's a lot of ambition in food, and there's going to be a lot more competition in food. This is investment in the sort of food space. $260 million invested in food and startups in November 2014. That's only increased since then. There's more statistics at that site if you want to check that out. But things like Farmigo, Good Eggs, lots of food startups that are doing like food delivery and going to be competing with CSAs, competing with farmers markets. And so I think there's plenty of food dollars out there, right, for farms and for some of these other operations. But I think we do need to be cognizant of what's going on in consumers' heads as they're making decisions, as they're thinking, well, should I join this CSA or should I get this food box that's delivered right to my door? And why would I do one or why would I do the other? And so these are some of the different things that I think it's important to think about. And yeah, that you have a lot of competitors. Your competitors aren't probably just farms down the road, but it's it's local grocery stores, it's Whole Foods, it's these food deliveries like Farmigo and Good Eggs that are really focusing on farms. And things like Amazon Fresh, and these are people who have millions and millions of dollars to especially develop the marketing side of it. I think that's one thing that they can really scale over time is the marketing end of it, maybe some of the education end around teaching education. That brings to the next one is this Blue Apron. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with Blue Apron, but this is meals delivered to to people's doorsteps with recipes, and they're all perfectly portioned out. So it sort of takes the guesswork out of home cooking is the idea of it. And so why is someone going to buy your CSA, or why is someone going to come to the farmer's market instead of just ordering Blue Apron? And well, it's going to be because of the freshness of what you do, that there are all the reasons that people would buy local food. But I think it's important that we need to differentiate ourselves against these new competitors. And probably competitors is the wrong word. I like the word maybe competitive landscape better, because in the end, people have a certain amount of dollars that they're going to spend on food in a month or food in a year. And so they're making decisions on how they're going to spend that food and if maybe they're going to spend more for local food or more for organic. So it's all going through people's heads. So, okay, so there's these well-funded people coming into the food space that are competing with the direct consumer sales. They have tons of money for marketing, right? They can post to Facebook and Twitter 10 times a day and have hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know. I should look on Twitter and see um, how many people that Blue Apron has on their Twitter account, just for interest, just to see what their reach is. Blue Apron. So they have 35,000 followers right here. That's a little lower than I thought it might be. But so they have 35,000 followers and you might have a thousand. But anyway, so how can we compete against that? I think that first off, what you could do for me in the chat is tell me, are you a farmer or a farmer's market, maybe a manager? So like, what is your role? And then also what are your different marketing channels? And so are you like 25% farmers market, 50% wholesale? Maybe give me a breakdown so I can sort of tailor this presentation to that. So who are you and what are your marketing channels? That'd be really helpful for me. So type that into the chat while I talk about this. And so first, it is don't compete on price. I mean, we're not gonna beat people on price and convenience. It's going to be about the values that are in your food. It's going to be about the freshness of the food. It's going to be about land use issues. It might be about treating employees well. I mean, there are a lot of things that it can be about. No one's telling me who you are, so tell me who you are in the chat, please. And then, of course, I think it's really important. Thanks, Matt. Okay, we have 100% CSA. Cool. We have a couple CSAs. So be a great marketer. I think this is something that's difficult because we're not used to selling ourselves. I think almost no one is, really used to selling themselves. But it's something that you really need to do if you're going to do direct to consumer sales. If you don't feel like selling yourself and selling what you have, then you should probably be moving more towards 100% wholesale because you're getting this higher markup on the direct to consumer sales, and where you're going to get that is out of marketing. Communication, really good communication with your customers and potential customers, getting them on email lists, getting them on social media, and then communicating with them. Being thankful is one thing I always say, is taking the time to thank your customers for supporting your livelihood and really meaning that, really being authentic with that. And okay, so we have some 80%. I'm just looking at the chat. So Jessica's 5% CSA, 80% farmers market. Okay. And that with marketing, things will change, and that's really important to keep learning. I talked to a CSA farmer earlier this year, and he had run a CSA in 2004 and was able to fill up 400 slots. It sounded like without even marketing, basically, he was outside of a major metro area, and this is probably when there are very few CSAs out there, and everything was just getting started. And then fast forward 10 years, and he's not even able to fill up a 20-member CSA, and that's partly because he hasn't changed with the times. And so I think it is really important to remember that in marketing and farming and all of this, nothing's going to be the same next year as it is this year, and or I should say, maybe nothing's going to be the same in 10 years as it is this year. I mean, next year things will be somewhat the same, but you need to keep learning and keep trying new things. Some things will work, some things won't. And so, we have this great seasonality in our businesses. So every, winter, it's time to look at new things. What worked, what didn't. And so I think it's really important to keep learning. And things like this, obviously, you're the you're the person, you're the people who are learning because you're here today and not the other, I don't know how many members NOFA New Jersey has. I think we had about 50 registrants for this. And so you're the 50 learningest farmers in NOFA New Jersey, I guess. So anyway, onwards. This is a really insightful comment that I got out of Farmer John from Angelic Organics, who's a sort of famous CSA farmer. We were talking, and he has this idea that the relationship that a customer has needs to be with the farm and not the food. And what that means is that if the relationship is with the food, if the relationship is that they're buying really great zucchini from you, then the farm can always be sort of abstracted out of that equation, and people can compete on price with you. Other people can produce great zucchini, right? But if a relationship is with the farm, the people that run the farm, the land that the farm is on, if that relationship was with the farm, and then great food comes out of the farm, then that can never be abstracted away. So a sort of small direct-to-consumer farmers and farmers markets, our relationship needs to be, the customer relationship needs to be with the farm, and that's really the most important part of it. And the food is sort of a next level down. Of course, the food is really important as well, but that's where the relationship starts. And I think it's really important. This is my gratuitous Michelle Obama photo. Every presentation has to have a Michelle Obama photo, right? I'm just kidding. So you can't please everybody. I think that's really important to remember, that you need to sit down and figure out who your best customers are. What is their profile? Where do they hang out? What, are they really foodie kind of people? Do they like weird vegetables, or are they more sort of corn, bean, and potatoes people? And because that helps you focus down on your customer, know where they are, know where you can reach them, and then give them a marketing message that speaks to that. And so your customer is not everyone who eats, right? I mean, everyone who eats is just going to be, you're going to be chasing after people who are not going to spend the extra 10% or spend the extra hour to go to the farmer's market. Those people you can never, you're not going to bring in easily, I guess, and that's probably going to be a losing battle for you. So know what your perfect customer looks like and target everything to them. I'm not really going deeply into this, but this is called customer personas, or there's a lot of different names for it. So you can look that up if you want to learn more about it. But it's basically just thinking about who your customers are, where they hang out, and what sort of marketing is going to reach them. You can't please everybody. I think that's so important. These are some interesting statistics about how to win local. You can check this out later. I can send out the PowerPoint. I should have sent that out beforehand, but anyway, you can read a little bit more. A couple things that I've found really interesting is that 96% of consumers say local food is grown within 100 miles. They associate local with fresh. They're willing to pay a premium. I have another slide on what kind of premium they're willing to pay. This one where it says advertise a local more, I think it's really interesting, that 34% of people are willing to make a special trip to buy local food. So you need to let them know they have it. Almost 2/3 said they'd be motivated to buy local if they were notified by promotions about in-season products. So this is saying that people aren't being communicated enough about when things are happening. So take the example of farmers markets. They're just once a week for like 4 hours, right? And so it's hard for people to remember that and people to get that into their schedule. And so if they're not getting reminded about that, they're probably not going to come. It's such a simple thing. It's just like good communication with your customers. But that's really what's going to get them out, because they want to support you, right? But if they don't know how, they can't remember, that's going to be hard. This is another slide. This is from a couple different studies, but this is willingness to pay for local food. So what sort of premium are people willing to pay for local food? And shows that apple. I would say that apples in Vermont, and that seems like a great business to be in. People are willing to pay almost double for those, and then it sort of goes down from there. And this is certainly the average person. So you're not dealing with the average person; you're dealing with your perfect customer. So they may be willing to pay more, but it does show that the people are willing to pay extra for local food. If you tell that story about it being local, it's not just an apple; it's an apple from this particular place, in this ground. So in this area. So here is a little webinar attendance bonus. This is something we haven't released publicly, but we had a big course with about 2,500 farms and farmers markets, and then we did a survey, and about 700 of them responded about their marketing challenges, what methods they use, and I will give you this link so you can download it, so you can grab it. And this is only available to folks going to the webinar today. You can download that there. I just pasted that in the chat. Let's go back in. And just some interesting things from that. Number one, frustration is attracting new customers. Number two, frustration is not making enough time for marketing tasks. We'll talk a little bit about that today. And then Facebook, word of mouth, and email lists were cited as the top tools that people use. So that'll give you an idea of what people are doing. We don't talk too much about word of mouth. That's a tough one to affect by your marketing, but there are ways, certainly. But okay, and so I'd like to get a little audience participation here, because that's what's really fun. So what has been your best marketing approach so far? So can you put that into chat for me? And I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. This might be a lot of people like you said, Facebook, word of mouth, email marketing, maybe a website. Is there a particular site that people have found you on? Maybe they found you through Local Harvest. That used to be a big one. It seems like people aren't getting as much business from Local Harvest as they used to. Maybe you've been flyering at CrossFit clubs or something. I mean, that's been awesome for you guys. I'm not moving on until someone gives me at least one best marketing approach. All right. Word of mouth. All right, Matt. Thank you. Well, anyone else can say it too. All right. So for the word of mouth folks, I'd be interested in knowing, is that just something that happens organically and that you're not affecting it, or is there some way that you are increasing the word of mouth? I'll let you just type that in. Right, there is a little bit of a lag, I guess. I'm not sure how long it is. So okay, so this is just one story of some great marketing that sort of pulls together some of these different stories. This is a farm in Pennsylvania called Yeehaw Farm. And this is a great story that she posted with a really nice photo. And so this is some of the things I'm going to be talking about today, is how to develop content, what works really well. And so here's something that worked really well. I got 1,084 shares, 149 comments, 130 shares. So this is something that really got widely dispersed. And it's a story about her dad and how he sits on the couch every morning, and the chicken knocks at the door with its beak, knock, 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 knocks on the glass of the door. He opens up the door, and the chicken comes in. He gives it a little food, and when the chicken's ready to get out, the chicken knocks at the door and gets out. So this is a great story about like really what's going on in farm life that connects people to her farm. And it's very shareable, very commentable. She's definitely one to follow. Later on, I say that one thing that you can do to improve your marketing is just follow people on, say, Facebook, or sign up for people's email lists that are good marketers, and you're going to learn from them and see what they do. But she really has an authentic voice that really resonates with people. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about a farm marketing toolkit. And I'm going to try to keep this simple because I don't want to overwhelm you with different things. But I think that these are really the most important things: website, email list, and social media. We're not going to be talking a lot about search engine optimization, which I think can be really important. That could be maybe something that we follow up on another time, because that's going to be where you're going to find new customers through the internet. But let's just go through this marketing toolkit. So website. So do you need a website? This is a question I've gotten a couple times over the past year, because I think things like Facebook and maybe a website seems a little outdated now. But I think it's absolutely so important, because it's that two things. It's professionalism, is it just shows that you're somewhat serious about your farm operation. You have your own .com, you have a site that looks fairly decent. I don't think it has to be the best thing in the world or anything. And it's the last step in becoming a customer. So when people are, searching, local food near your town, when they're searching that on Google, they're going to eventually come to your site, and that's how they're going to learn about you. They're probably not going to just call you on the phone. I don't know if anyone's still just putting a phone number out there, but they want to go to your website. They're going to read about your growing practices. They're going to read about people on the farm. I always say that people's attention spans are really short on the internet, and they are really short, especially for social media. But at that point where there's a certain point in someone's relationship with you where they just want to learn, they want to learn more about you, they're going to go to the website and they're going to have some time to read. And that's where you want to have sort of like your growing philosophy, why you're there, why it's important to support this farm. And you can really go sort of more long form on the website. Not something that needs to be updated every day. You can have a blog if you like. I don't really stress that in this, but you could definitely add a little blog in and post some of your content there. I'll talk more about the content that you could post to it to make it really easy. This farm has a recipe index. That's really great. We'll talk more about that. And then allow people to pay you online if you can. If you have a CSA, definitely have online sign up. Make it easy for people to give you money. That's really important. People are used to that. They don't want to be printing things off and sending checks in. And it may seem sort of like a small thing, but it's just so important to actually closing sales. Like you've got someone to the point where they're really interested in your farm and they're reading more about you. Let them give you money, right? Let them pay with a credit card. It does cost something, but it's so important. And so I'm sure a lot of you have a website already, so I'm not going to talk too much about the ways to build a site, but we have a website building tool that you can use that's sort of farm centric. You could hire a local designer. You could that might include sending a message out. I've seen people have a fair amount of success sending a message out to their customer base and saying, "Hey, we need a website. You get a free CSA share if you help us with this website." I think you do need to be a little concerned that those people will actually come through and actually build the website for you, get it done, and then be able to support it over time. But it is one way to do it, and some people have been successful with it. And so that's one way. Maybe a sort of a simple site like WordPress might be sort of a free option. And there are other services out there, like Squarespace is a well-known one that's been advertising a lot. Weebly is another one. And so these are all sort of like drag and drop kind of website tools that you can get started easily, and you can do the work yourself, and it's fairly inexpensive. So that's just the ways to build a site. Okay, so I'm not gonna stay on the website end of it too long, because I don't think I need to convince you too much, but I think it is absolutely of paramount importance to have a good website that people can buy things from you on. Okay, so next up is email list. And so email, I think, is, everyone wants to talk about social media. They want to talk about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest, and that's all a little bit, you know, I think that you can spend a lot of time on social media and waste a lot of time. And I want to keep you guys farming, right? And so that's why I love email marketing, because it's effective. Um, and you can sort of schedule things to happen. So why email marketing? Because you reach people in their inboxes. Today people are doing lots of stuff on social media, but still the inbox is the center of people's digital lives. And so you're reaching people right where they're checking their email. That might be different for the, say, under 25 set or something like that. I'm not sure what will happen as we go forward, but you're really reaching people in a really effective place. There are no gatekeepers. This is one thing that's really important to me, is that if you get someone to like you on Facebook, that doesn't mean people are going to see your posts. Facebook is going to decide if that person actually sees your posts. So you're always going to have this sort of layer between you and your customer. But once you have their email address, you can always send them emails until they unsubscribe. So yeah, I think that's really important. And it's also that it's a higher likelihood than social media that your update will be seen. So you should be getting open rates in the 30 to 40% and up range. So that means 30. And I have some stats in here about how many people see the average Facebook post and the average Twitter post, and it's much lower than that. So yeah, so email marketing is absolutely really important. You should collect email addresses on your website. You can collect them at the farmer's market. You can maybe use an existing list. If you have an existing customer list for any reason, you could probably add those people in when you start your email list. That would be a good way to get it started. You might want to tell them that you're going to add them to a list and give them the opportunity to unsubscribe. That would probably be nice. But let people subscribe to you by email, because that's sort of a nice first step in people getting a relationship with you, especially through a website. If that, and that's the important thing about the website, just going back a little bit, is to understand what the desired action is that you want people to do. So you might want people to buy a CSA share, but people might not be ready to drop $600 or $800 on a CSA share right now. But if you get them on an email list and you can start telling them about it, they're forwarding it to their spouse, they're forwarding it to other people, then they get this sort of relationship with you, and they might be ready to buy in 2 weeks or a month or 6 months or 2 years. But when you get them on the email list, you can start to sort of talk to them over time about why it's important to support your farm. So I think that having some way for people to type their email address into your site, absolutely so important. It's sort of a small thing, may sound like a small thing, but so important to start building that audience, building that email list, and start sending emails. Send it with an email service. Don't copy and paste it into BCC and deal with all that junk. Get something like MailChimp, Small Farm Central. We have an email tool through that. Constant Contact are great ones, but figure it out. Get that started. It's not that hard. Many people have done it before you, and they'll help you as supporter. We can help you. So send it with an email service. Don't junk around with something else. And so how often to send, how to do it. I think you're going to want to, I'll talk more about the content that you're going to send, but you're going to want to send once per week during the season. And so sort of have a scheduled time that goes out. Include a recipe with that. We'll talk more about that. Segment list. So especially if you're doing farmers markets, segment your list into, so that these email addresses go to the Wednesday market and these other emails go to the Thursday market. And so you can confidently send a separate email 24 hours before the market and tell them about and remind them about the market. This is a great, so you might send one email to your whole email list. And then when you have these segmented lists, you'll send one email 24 hours before the market. And you can actually schedule these to go out, and that's a really important aspect of this. Is with a service like MailChimp, service like ours, you can schedule the emails to go out at the beginning of the week, and then they'll just go out at the right time, and you can be farming, doing whatever you are, but it'll go out at the right time. CSA reminders once a week, obviously. And don't worry about sending too many messages. I think that's one thing that people get concerned about, that they're going to overload people or whatever. You're probably not going to be doing. Maybe if you start sending emails 3 or 4 times a week, that it might start to overload people, but I wouldn't worry about it. If they don't want to hear from you, they'll unsubscribe, because you're using an email service and people can unsubscribe. That's another really great reason to use an email service. And then keep the email short. Don't try to say too much. These long newsletter emails with 10 different news items, unnecessary. No one reads them. Remember, people are reading them on a mobile device, and so they're going to look there, and they're not going to spend time on 2,000 word emails. Make it something that's scannable and easy. We'll talk about that a little bit. So here, how to create content. This is the easy way to create content. This is just a post I found yesterday from Bossy Acres. This is a good farm to follow, and they saw a wolf sighting. And so what I would recommend, you're looking at one piece of content per week that's going to connect people to the farm. And what I'm looking at is one photo and one paragraph of text, something that's compelling. This is obviously compelling, that there's a wolf sighting. Within a couple hours, it's got 18 likes and 17 comments. So it's obviously something that's resonating with her audience. And so, yeah. So this is your one piece of content per week, and then this is going to go out on your email list. This is going to go out to all your social media. This can be put on your blog, but it's short, it's easy, and people can read it on their phones. They can look at the picture, read 30 seconds to 1 minute of text, and then move on. They've connected with you, and time to move on. If you have any questions, shout them out. All right. Social media. I already feel like I'm going longer than I wanted to, but I'm just going to keep going. And yeah, so social media is not a silver bullet. So organic reach for Facebook pages is at 4%. So that's saying that 4% of the people who like your page may be seeing the post. Fewer than half of all Twitter users visit the site daily. So that means that's going to be, like, I know we have like over 3,000 followers on Facebook. And if we post something to Facebook, or I'm talking about Twitter. So we have 3,000 followers on Twitter. When we post something to Twitter, and if it doesn't get reposted or blah, 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 but if it just goes out, I think about 150 people will see it. So 150 out of 3,000 people see that post. So it's, again, that's not very good. And then the half-life of a tweet is 24 minutes. So it means that half the people are going to see it within the first 24 minutes. So Facebook's not a silver bullet, and all these social media tools are they're not a silver bullet, and that's really why I like email marketing, and why I think you need to do a lot of these things in concert with each other, but do them in a way. I'll talk about this, how you make a schedule. And so if you don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think it's important to be there. And so which platform to use? These are the 4 main ones now, it seems like: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. If you guys want to type into the chat which social media platforms you use, I'd be interested. It came in the out of the marketing survey that Facebook was the most popular one, and that's what I would probably recommend too. If you're not doing any of them, Facebook's a great one. Create your own Facebook page. Start interacting with your customers there. Twitter might be a secondary one. And Pinterest and Instagram, I think, would be more likely to use if you enjoy using them. And I'm not going to go into them too much. I think Facebook is really the most important one, especially for the types of, again, this probably would go back to who your perfect customer is. Where are they hanging out? And for the people who buy local food, I think Facebook, they're maybe a little bit of an older audience. They're probably not, you probably don't have a lot of customers that are 16-year-old kids, for example. So it doesn't really matter where they hang out. Okay, so we have some Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'm just looking in the chat here. Yeah, so Facebook definitely most important one, and that's the one to start with. And don't don't try to do too much. Don't start your Pinterest account. Don't start your Instagram account if you're not going to use it. There's no point in that. It's just going to sort of reflect badly on you if people come across an account that's not used very well. And so imagery is just so important on social media. This is a great image that I found yesterday. It says rootphoria, the feeling of great happiness and well-being one experiences after consuming root vegetables. And so that's great. So I guess they have a lot of root vegetables to sell, which would make sense at this time of year. So this, people don't even have to read the text of the post to get this. And so creating images, and that's why I say choose one image and then the paragraph. And I have, let me go. Oh, and then this is a cool tool, canva.com. I believe it's free, or it's mostly free. There might be some upgrades there, but canva.com, if you're looking to make some of these images like this that have the text overlaid over the photo, this one isn't too complicated, but if you've seen those on Facebook where they look really nice, this canva.com makes it really easy. We're starting to use this for a lot of our social media stuff that we do. So that's something to check out if you don't have a whole lot of experience with like Adobe Photoshop. It's a lot easier than all that. Okay, so imagery is central. Images and everything that you can for posts. So important because people are looking at stuff. They're scrolling through. I'm just imagine what people are doing, right? When they're reading social media, they're probably like standing in the line at the bank. That's to me, like, I don't actually. I've taken social media off my phone, so it's not a temptation. But that's where I imagine people doing a lot of it, and so they're scrolling through. And if it's a bunch of text, they're probably not going to read it. We have one question leading up to this about social media advertising. I think especially Facebook can be really good for this. And so you're going to want to create a post that directly is a directly selling kind of post. Probably it's going to be talking about selling your CSA share, maybe with a little discount if they use a coupon code. So this isn't something where you're trying to connect people with the farm, but you're trying to actually sell something. And then you're really going to want to target it down on location, demographics, and interests. So, obviously, where they are, you can really target that down. You're going to target the age range of people. You think it's more females? Do you think it's more males? And you can play around with this a little bit. And then also interest. So you can say people who like this other page, I would like to advertise to them. Or if they said they're interested in farming or local food or, farmers markets, then you can advertise them. So it can be really effective like that you can really reach out. And this is a way to find new customers, right? And reach out to them. And then you pay per click. So it's going to be different based on sort of whatever Facebook thinks of the value of them. And I would mainly recommend Facebook for this, at least to start. And you're going to want to track conversions if you can. So people that click on that they go buy a CSA share, one easy way to do that might be through a coupon code. And then you'll be able to get all kinds of stats from them of how effective the ad was. One thing that you could look into, again, this is more of maybe an advanced topic, is to consider retargeting. And so what retargeting is you put a little piece of code on your website, and when someone goes, so then that tells Facebook that this person visited your website, and then you can show ads on Facebook to those people. So this can be really powerful to get people back that are still thinking about buying from you, or even if you have an email list, big list of old customers, you could show advertisements just to them based on their email address. So that could be, the retargeting could be sort of an advanced topic you could get into and can be really, really powerful. And there's this question of boosted Facebook posts versus ads. I did some research on this, and it seems like it's about the same. And so you can either boost them or create a new post that's just an advertisement. The key is that you want to target. You really need to target these down. You don't want to just show these to everyone that's in your area or everyone, you obviously, if you're in New Jersey, you don't care about someone in Idaho seeing your ad. That's not going to help you. And so that's what's beautiful about this kind of advertising, is you can really target it down on your location. So as long as you can target it, either a boosted Facebook post or an ad, totally fine. Make nifty images. We talked about that. So here's an example of a nifty image. I just love this. This is Henrietta the hen in a holiday sweater says season greetings, farmers friend. So this is something from last year, and just a nice, really simple thing. This got a lot of shares. She talked about it a little bit. She said she got 4 CSA signups that were related to the chicken, and she only had 20 members that year. So that was like 20% of her signups came from that chicken. So, and it also, this chicken was in a theater in the play. So there you go. So making a schedule, let me give this out to you guys. This is a little Google Calendar that I created with a sample schedule of posting, but this is really important, and this is something you can do after you get off this call. So what I recommend is scheduling some time in your week, either probably early in the week, maybe it's like Monday or Tuesday morning or whenever, and put this on your calendar and say, for these 2 hours, I'm going to work on my content and I'm going to get everything scheduled off, everything just scheduled to go out. And so that's what I have here. 10 to 11 is marketing content and development scheduling. And so you create your content, you pick a photo, you pick a recipe, and then you schedule your emails to go out. You schedule all your Twitter posts to go out. I have it on here to send the Twitter post 3 times during the week. You might want to do a Facebook post twice during the week, but that may not make as much sense. But Twitter is one where you can, if you're doing that, you really want to post it often. But what you can do is schedule everything to go out during these hours, and then everything will just go out at the right time during your market. And I'll show you how you can do that, or tell you some tools that you can do that. And this just has a couple other things on it. It's showing a Wednesday farmers market here. And so you send a email 24 hours before, and then a social media right before the market. So you can look at all that. But just think about it. Write down in your, write it down. What does an average week look like during the harvest season? When should the different posts go out? And if you have this written out ahead of time, when you come in on Monday morning, you have 10 to 11, this is your marketing time, you get everything scheduled up, and then you can just let it fly. And I think this is really important to make sure you have time to farm while marketing, have the maximum reach. I hope that makes sense. I know I'm sort of glossing over it a little bit, but essentially just make the schedule and stick to it, right? And I'd be happy to talk to you guys a little bit about, if you wanted to email me, and we could talk a little bit about a weekly posting schedule. There's a couple of scheduling tools. Hootsuite is a good one for scheduling these things ahead of time, so you can schedule them to go out at a certain time. Buffer is a similar tool. Edgar's a little different. Those are ones you could check out. But Hootsuite would probably be my number one recommended for a farm to schedule these to go out, and it's free. So that's a beautiful thing. And so what kind of content resonates with people? It's going to be pictures of people working, because that's going to connect them. Kids are always great. Animals, of course, are really great. We had the wolf and the sheep, or whatever it was, from Bossy Acres. And so these are the kind of things that resonate with people. And let me go back. Oh, and so this, and then this is really important. This is what you want to do, that you can watch your analytics, and you don't have to do this every week or anything, but maybe at the end of the season, you can look back and see, well, what posts, what tweets, what Facebook posts got the most engagement. This one got pretty good engagement for us. It got 8.1% engagement. So 8.1% of the people who saw it clicked on it or did something with it. And so that's really good for us. So, and this is a little like funny, jokey one. So we know that this is the kind of thing that works. And so what you can do over time is just gradually improve that. And it's going to be different for your customers, because you have different customers than we do, and you have different customers than your farm across the road has. So this is how you keep improving. And then recipes is really important, because people don't cook. People don't know how to cook. And that's why things like Blue Apron and all that are so important. Think simple recipes with easy substitutions. I like to see people be encouraged to be substitution style cooks, they call it, or experimentation. So, if they don't have garlic, they feel comfortable using garlic scapes. Or, if they have Chinese cabbage and the recipe calls for regular cabbage, they're willing to use that. I think it's really important for a cook that is cooking with local food, because things change so much, and that is really hard for people. Here are some different ideas of like some really simple recipes that you can grab if you are not having inspiration. I mean, there's recipes everywhere, but there's one you can check out. Okay, and then keep learning. I think that's so important. You're here learning. That's awesome. We have a little email list called the Farm Marketing Minute, which we send out ideas maybe once a month on marketing. We had this great thing, Halloween promotion that we sent out that people could use. So we'll add you to that list as long as you use your email address for this. And you can unsubscribe if you don't want to hear from us more, of course. But that's a good example of email marketing. So maybe that'll be a good thing for you to follow. There are some neat podcasts that you can listen to while you're working, driving the tractor, listening to podcasts. There are a couple of farmer ones. People really like Chris Blanchard's Farmer to Farmer podcast. That's one to check out. And then just on social media, follow other farms and follow other markets, and people are doing it well. And then that's how you'll sort of get better over time. Watch your analytics to prove. Okay, so that's sort of the content part of this. Let me know if you have put any questions you have into the chat. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do at Small Farm Central. We have 3 main products. We have a website builder for farmers, which you can check out. That gives you your own domain name, like yourfarm.com. We sort of guide you through the whole setup process, but you have access to it completely to set things up. And it looks very farm-centric. And then we have a free trial on our website. I'll talk about that a little bit. I noticed there were a couple people that do CSAs. So you're probably familiar with our member assembler tool, and that's a CSA member management software. And you can check that out on our site. And then we also have FarmFan, which is a neat marketing tool if you're doing farmers markets that allows people to opt in to get a text message right before the farmers market, and makes it easy for you to send those and everything. And so that's a good tool, especially for farmers market marketing. When we were talking a bit about the importance of communication, and we really like text messages for last minute communication to farmers markets, because it really drives people to get out of the house and get down the market or remember it, because it's so easy to forget about a farmers market. So that's a general overview of what we do. If you go to smallfarmcentral.com, bring this over here. There's our site. And then you can get information about the site builder here, FarmFan here, member assembler here. I'm actually also writing a book all on these topics of farmers market marketing. We're hoping to have this out in January of next year. And so you can check out a little bit more information about that. And if you do want to sign up for a trial, we have a free 14-day trial. You go all the way to the bottom of the page, and you can do this now if you like. Click on Start a Free Trial. And no credit card required. You just sort of type in your name and your information and what you're interested in. And you can check out either website builder or member assembler here. Okay, yeah, and here's I'll give you this link. This is the free trial link. I'd like to check that out. Okay. And then one last thing that you could check out if you're interested is, this is something new for us, but we're doing, based on some of the things I've been talking about today, we're doing marketing plan development with people. So this is developing an individualized, comprehensive written marketing plan for your farm or farmer's market. And so this is an introductory price, and basically it'll be a couple phone calls with me, and then we'll write something together that works for you, like a weekly posting schedule, search engine optimization, email marketing, a website plan. We'll go into everything. And so since this is a new thing for us, we are offering this a 50% off price just to folks in this webinar. And so we're only offering 3 slots available at that price. And this is available for the next 3 days. But if you want to do this, this would be a great time to do it. We can get everything set up and give you a plan to move forward in the new year. And so let me know if you have any more questions about this. I'll send out a little email, some more email about this to the group. But here's the link if you want to buy that. Marketing plan development. If you want to buy that, that's there. And so yeah, there's only 3 slots available. So you definitely want to do that quickly if you are interested. And that will sort of a done for you approach of all these things, and we'll integrate whatever your goals are into that. And if you want to contact me, you can find me at simon@smallfarmcentral.com. We can set up a call from there if you'd like to set up a call, and I'm happy to talk you through anything on your marketing. If you just have a couple questions, definitely email me. Happy to do that. And then we have a couple, some of the websites there, and you can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter if you like. We only do Facebook and Twitter. We don't do Instagram, Pinterest, all that kind of stuff, at least yet. So we're trying to focus on what we do best as well, just like we recommend to you. So yeah, and now this could be time for questions. How was that? I mean, I'd like to know if you found that useful. Was that too advanced, too beginner? Let me know. NOFA New Jersey asks, are there good tools for integrating social media accounts? So one place to operate all of your accounts. The Hootsuite is really good for integrating social media. So you could definitely check that out, because then you can integrate your Facebook and your Twitter right there, or whatever you're doing, and then you can just sort of schedule your posts to go out from there. So I hope that answers that question. I do have some questions that came in beforehand, which I could pull out. Here they are. Questions. Michael Wilk asked, I don't know if, thanks, Jess. I'm glad it was useful to you. Yeah, so what free web hosting sites do you recommend? I've heard people having some success with the free WordPress sites. But free, you get what you pay for with free, right? So that's one that I've heard people do pretty well with. But I think you just make sure you get your own domain name, like yourfarm.com, because then going forward, you can develop, if you find you have more needs for it, you can develop a paid website or something. You can just transfer that site, and so you don't lose all the, lose all the search engine optimization and lose all the links that you have out there. Yeah, so Matt, you like the scheduling consistency aspect. I think that's just so important, and it'll just lower your stress level on the whole thing if you get a schedule and you stick to it and make it something that works. So Matt had a couple good questions. I know Matt's participating in the chat. I don't know if Michael Wilk was here, but anyway, what is the best ratio of sales newsletters to just informative ones? I think that it sort of depends on the time of year. If you have something to sell, I think you can hit it pretty hard and it not be a big deal. And you will, like when you're actually selling, say, your CSA shares or something, you can easily send one of those a week that's just focused on, you should buy our CSA share because, and the thing is, if people aren't going to buy and they're not going to become customers, then why should they be on your emails anyway? They can unsubscribe if they really want to. And so you don't need a lot of dead weight on your email list. It's not a number just for a number. It's about getting customers. And so and there should be ways to filter out, if you're really heavily advertising your CSA, you could filter out people who have already joined so they're not getting more emails about it. And Matt also asks, is maintaining a rich video presence worth my time? Yeah, I think that the videos, it can be great. I mean, I guess it depends how much time you're spending on them, and how much reach they're getting, how many clicks it's getting, how many shares it's getting, how many new customers you think it's bringing in. It can be really easy to take pretty simple videos of different things that are going on the farm, and that's a way to, people love video. And so if you can do it, I mean, it's always going to be a matter of like looking at the return on investment, of course, of what you're doing. But I've seen people be really, really successful with videos, and you can sort of balance that with spending a ton of time on a single video, or doing something really pretty quick. Maybe just taking a video of, oh, here's us using our root washer, something like that, and that can be something that you can have posted in seconds with some of the technology we have now. Bill Shadell asks, oh, and then is paying for Facebook promotion valuable? I talked a little bit about that. I think it definitely can. And as far as diminishing returns, I'm not really sure how to answer that question. I think you just have to look at the data and see, is there, are we going to reach enough people to make this worth it? And so you would just need to look at the data there to figure out where that point is for you. But Facebook has a huge audience. Most of the people in your area are probably using Facebook, and so you have a lot of people you can potentially reach there. So yeah, thanks, Vitaly. So again, it was the consistency that was really important. And yeah, and I think it's not anything more than just carving some time out of your schedule and making it a priority and having a really good idea of what you're doing. Because if you sit down and you have this written out, it's like, I'm going to do these 10 different things, then it doesn't have to take you that long, right? But if you're always having to like interrupt your day to go into Instagram, post this photo, it's just, that's a waste of your time. It's honestly a waste of your time. And so unless you really love doing it, I mean, I've seen some farmers who just really love doing it, and they're tweeting from their tractor all day, and that's great. But that's not everyone. And blogging, blogging can, I think, just sort of add to some of these things. So I'm talking about this like one picture, one paragraph kind of content, and just throw that in your blog. Throw whatever you're putting out on social media on your blogs. It's just a different aspect to get things out there, and it'll bring people back to your website if you link them. If you link them back using the blog link. But I don't think it's like a paramount importance or anything. But if it's something that you can easily do, you may as well, since you're already creating the content on a weekly basis. Keywords, yeah, keywords can be really important. I have more on that. Well, more in the book on this, like search engine optimization. And I will post a link into chat, which has more information on some of the things you can do with search engine optimization and how to get out on that. The importance of keywords and how important it is to have other sites to link to yours. So this is a really like farm-centric way to do search engine optimization. So those are the questions I got ahead of time. Well, thanks, Nova New Jersey, for having me. I hope this was useful. And I hope you get something out of it. Let me know. You can definitely email me. I'll put my email in the chat again. If you have any questions, if you'd like to do the marketing plan development, let's talk. I can give you more details on exactly what it would entail. If you like, just email me about it. And I'll stick around for a couple minutes if you have any more questions. But otherwise, if you're headed out, thanks for joining me. I hope you got a lot out of it, and let me know if there's anything I can improve, anything I should add, and yeah, your feedback is really important to me. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Matt, Helen, Vitali, Bill, Jess Stahl. All right. If no one has any more questions, I will end things here. Thanks for coming, guys.